Welcome into the fourth episode of the PuntCast from KohlsNews.com. I'm Dan Tracy. We continue our NFL Draft preview series of PuntCast this week as we chat with two more prospects that are utilizing Kohl's kicking as they prepare to transition from college to the NFL. On today's PuntCast, I'll be chatting with two of the most consistent college field goal kickers of the last several years. Combined, these two started 7 years, made 84% of their field goals and 98.8% of their extra points. Both were multi-year conference award winners in the ACC and Big Ten, and both received accolades for their work off the field and in the classroom. This week's episode features Northwestern kicker Jeff Budzine and Clemson kicker Chandler Catanzaro. My first guest started the last 3 years at Northwestern and in that time became the most decorated Big Ten specialist in several years. As a Wildcat, he set school records for points, field goal percentage, single-season field goals, and he was a perfect 136 for 136 on extra points. He's a two-time Big Ten Kicker of the Year, a 2013 Sporting News First-Team All-American, and a member of the AFCA Good Works team. He's currently getting his master's degree in sport administration while he also gets ready for the upcoming NFL Draft. He's Jeff Budzine. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good, Dan. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. Jeff, I want to start with your senior season at Northwestern. From a team standpoint, you guys finished 5-7, obviously, lower than your expectations. So it was frustrating. You guys had close losses throughout the year, but you also remained one of the most consistent kickers in the country, and really helped your team stay in a lot of those games. What specific things will you take away from your senior year as you transition into the next phase of your career?
I think a lot of it will be mentally how to handle, team failure. Before I had a pretty good year, 19 and 20, and we won 10 games, won a bowl game, so that was all riding high. But then this year, once I started kicking hot, but we were losing some games, Hail Marys, last second field goals, and it was tough for the team. So we had to kind of balance the specialist group doing our thing and not letting, the greater team influence how we were preparing for each week.
Now you guys, working for KohlsNews.com, we were always kind of keeping our finger on the pulse of Northwestern special teams because you guys had a few, instances in the media this year, including the publicized Margaritaville that you guys would have there on the sidelines. What was it like, kind of being the senior leader in that group this year, and how do you think that that's going to help the specialists going forward at Northwestern?
I think most of all, this would be a good example for the younger guys. We were a little more vocal this year and publicized. I guess a lot of people like to write things, or like you mentioned, the Margaritaville video and the Big Ten Media Day crashing. But I think I got to that point by being quiet in the locker room and just making kicks. And I think kickers are usually better seen and not heard. So I'm more of an outgoing guy, but I think I had to tone it down in the locker room once I got to college and earn my stripes, if you will, before I started, really interacting or being more of a vocal guy. So I think it was a great example of how to, just put the time in and get the success before you started being vocal, because I'll tell you the truth, no one likes guys that are loud but not doing their job more than anybody else in the locker room.
Talking about guys that are seen and not heard, we're seeing a lot of Northwestern this week with the National Labor Relations Board ruling this week. And, I don't want to dive into that story too much. We could talk for hours about that. But what was it like to spend 4 years within a program like Northwestern, within a university like Northwestern, that has people that are catalysts, that has people that are willing to take charge of and make change within certain industries? What was it like being in a program like that, where you've got so many like-minded people that are able to, truly make change within their respective industries?
Yeah, it was encouraging and humbling, I guess, at the same time. Everybody that you talk to had aspirations to be a doctor or be a politician or something, and it certainly was motivating for me and encouraging to be around such, driven people. I think with NLRB and the union stuff, I don't know how well thought out everything is, but at least that we have guys in the team that have the guts to pursue what they think is right, and I think that's pretty remarkable. So that's a testament, I guess, to the Northwestern type of person that they'll act and pursue what they think is the right thing to do.
Exactly. All right, let's get into kicking. How about that? Take me back to your pro day workout earlier this month. You were good on 15 of 16 field goals from under 50, 6 of 9 from beyond 50. What did you take from that experience?
Yeah, it's good. I wanted to kind of answer some questions just about my leg strength. I didn't think people had an accurate representation of what they thought my leg strength was. So I tried to stretch it out a little bit, especially at the end, and hit some good balls. Yeah, I think, it was just showing at least on field goals that I had a stronger leg than maybe was advertised about me was another thing. And I also wanted to, mirror my image of being a consistent field goal guy within 50, which I was. I think the one miss I had was 45. I hit the post. So it was a workmanlike day. Truthfully, I usually just have a lot of those. I rarely have a good day or a bad day kicking. It's usually just the status quo. And, again, luckily that was the case on pro day.
Jamie Kohl said it himself in your evaluation on KohlsKicking.com. You've been the most reliable college kicker that he's worked with in this year's draft. What makes you so reliable, Jeff?
I think it's a combination of mentally being strong enough to handle the moment. I think kicking at Northwestern in the Big Ten with the windy and the cold conditions, I think mental midgets won't survive doing that. And I also think I adopted a form that I could call on command. So, that was something that I think as I progressed through college, my mental game and my physical game of getting stronger and finding a form or technique that I could call on literally at any time was a good benefit for me. So I tried to transition from more being a sexy kicker where you'd be able to swing and do a really good technique to something that adapted to my body type. And once I started worrying more about the results instead of how I looked while kicking, it certainly paid dividends.
Now, developing that technique is something that I know you've done for years with Kohl's Kicking. Being from, going to school at Arrowhead, you were right in Kohl's country there in southern Wisconsin. I know that you've had the chance to work with him in this process, getting ready for the NFL. How has the work that you've been able to put in with Kohl's Kicking, both getting ready for the draft and over the years, helped you develop into an NFL prospect?
Oh, yeah, Kohl's is the number one reason I had the success I did in college, and I am where I am now. Not only, I guess, with kicking, but as a person, too. I think guys like Jamie Kohl and his dad and Luke O'Radke and Brett Culbertson, they're some of the most, ethical and honorable people that I've ever met. So the chance to work with them to become a better kicker, but actually a person is pretty remarkable and, again, humbling and a blessing for me. But I think just with the mental game, I think Jamie is by far the best kicking coach in the country to work with mentally. And I think unlike other kicking coaches that want to change technique, they'll find out what works best for every individual. And they're less worried about, I think, how form, is a universal form and how stuff can actually be adapted to each person. So they're, I would say, the main catalyst to my success.
That's great. Now, Jeff, we're getting close. We're just over a month away from the NFL draft, and NFL camps will be right around the corner. What specifically are you focusing on with your craft as you get ready for what's next?
Yeah, I think right now I'm just trying to get my legs strong again and be lifting. I'm doing a lot of leg work, so when that time comes, I'm at the strongest point that I've ever been at. Yeah, I'm also trying to improve my kickoff, so in camp that's, something that coaches will hopefully be surprised that my kickoffs are better than I probably showed on film last year. So, I think it's just a waiting game, and I think that benefits me because a lot of kickers are maybe losing hope in the process, and it's a little dry and not as promising as maybe some liked. I'm still able to work hard and stay focused and driven, and that's, again, a good reason I'm with Kohl's Kicking. Those guys are certainly inspiring me to work hard. So
definitely, Jeff, thank you very much for joining us today. Best of luck to you as you get ready for the next step.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for having me.
Be sure to check out KohlsKicking.com for the upcoming schedule of lessons, camps, and showcases from now until July 20th. There's still time to sign up for the 3-day one-on-one spring break camp in Los Angeles beginning on April 13th. And speaking of LA, the National Spring Showcases in Los Angeles, Chicago, New Jersey, and Dallas are just over a month away. Head over to KohlsKicking.com, click on the camp dates and locations, and sign up for your next camp with Kohl's. My second guest started all 4 years as a Clemson Tiger, and in his final 2 seasons missed only 2 field goals. He graduated as the school record holder in points, extra points, and field goals of 40 or more yards. He's also the school record holder for starts, becoming the first Tiger to start 50 games in program history. 2-time Lou Groza Award semifinalist, 3-time All-ACC selection, and 4-time ACC Academic Honor Roll member. Currently, he's preparing for the upcoming NFL Draft and the next step in his football career. He is Chandler Catanzaro. Chandler, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dad. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks. Chandler, when I was getting ready for this interview, I was thinking about Clemson, and the word that comes to mind for me when I think of the Clemson program is tradition. Probably, a lot of that's skewed by, the tapping of Howard's Rock, the rivalry with South Carolina. So my question is, what stood out most to you from your career at Clemson, and how do you think that specific thing or things are going to help you in your transition to the next level?
I think, tradition is huge at Clemson, obviously, like you said. You got the rock and the hill and everything like that. It's amazing. I'm going to miss, riding the rock, running down the hill so much, riding around the bus to the hill, everything like that. I think, there's so much tradition. I mean, even more so than those, just all around campus. And I think I've just, in my 5 years I spent at Clemson with my redshirt year, I think I just, I wanted to take everything in and kind of learn everything about Clemson as a university. Because football is one thing, but I've loved my time at Clemson so much from the relationships I built, everything Clemson stands for. It means so much to me, and I think what I'll take to the next level is just learning how to manage my time, maybe. And Clemson, academics wise, I majored in biology, and I think with football, everything with football, I think I learned how to manage my time in that regard. And so I think that's going to take me to the next level. Organizational skills, everything like that, building a routine, setting goals for myself, everything like that. So I think just all around the big picture that Clemson taught me, it's just mainly, I think goal setting is huge and focusing on my routine and sticking to it.
Yeah, I think looking at your degree, your history there at Clemson. I mean, being a biological science major, and then being a freshman starter, and not just that, but being the first guy to start 50 games. I mean, I know that schedules have gotten a bit longer over history and those type of things, but having the longevity like that must have been a really neat accomplishment for you to be the first guy in program history to say, I started 50 games.
That was one of my, I think, favorite, records I may have broken. I think I didn't know about that actually until the end of my career. I read it. I think someone showed me, and someone told me that I was the first Tiger to start 50 games in history. And this has been a long time since there's been a long time in Clemson football. So I think that was maybe what I pride myself most on is just it was just really kind of humbling. And as a kicker, I realized you're not gonna have as many injuries as a kicker as you would a lineman or a linebacker or something like that. But that's something I'll cherish for sure. And I think that longevity, getting more kicks and more experience, I think that's also something that's gonna help me out going to the next level.
Another thing during your tenure there, more recently, Tigers under Coach Sweeney and OC Chad Morris, they've really established themselves as an offensive juggernaut in the country. How important did you find yourself in developing that system, that recognition as an offense, as one of the top offenses in the country?
Well, when I think of our offense, I think speed, explosiveness, and Chad Morris and Coach Sweeney and our whole coaching staff have done an amazing job at kind of changing the culture here, I think, into the powerhouse and 2 11-win seasons in a row. And I think a big part of that is our offense and putting the ball in the end zone. But at the same time, we don't put it in the end zone, I'm excited to go out there. I'm excited to, if I'm sitting out there on the field, I'm excited to make 3 points every time. And so I think I just I wanted to be a part of that explosive offense, and I wanted to make sure everybody knew that if we didn't quite make it to 6 points in certain drives, I'd be there I'd be the rock, the solid rock out there to run out there on the field, and everybody would know that I would get the points for us. So basically my job is to make kicks, and I know that, and kind of wanted to just display my confidence and be out there and just whenever I was called upon, do my job. So.
Exactly. Now, looking at your stats, 39 of 41 in your last 2 years, you would think just on that stat alone, NFL scouts would be crawling over you and whatever, really wanted to find out. They had the chance to first talk to you, really at your pro day workout earlier this month. Can you take me back to that experience and what did you gain from that experience at your pro day?
Pro day was an awesome experience. I spent a long time coming before pro day. After the Orange Bowl victory, it's I guess about 3 months or so, and I think our pro day was March 6th.
Yep.
So it was a long time of preparing, making sure my legs stayed fresh, and just training, working my tail off in the weight room, stuff like that. And so when pro day came, I wanted to make sure that I was primed and ready, and I was. I felt great, going to pro day, and had a very solid pro day. I was couldn't have gone much better in my eyes. I think a big thing with me is the kickoffs. I showed them that I can kick off at a high level, and I think that's mainly what they're looking for, especially. And so I think I proved that, and definitely met some cool people. I met assistant GM with the Cardinals, which is awesome, and also a special teams coach with the Giants, and a bunch of different scouts. And I met some amazing people, some cool people, and also just to kind of see my buddies in my class do their thing out there as well. And specifically, I'll give a shout out to Tyler Shadley, benching 40 reps, offensive guard. He's one of my best friends.
Wow.
Just stuff like that it was a very neat experience, and the coaches did an excellent job of putting the pro day together for us.
Now, unlike Jeff, my first guest, he had worked, he had started working with Jamie Kohl back when he was in high school, and really, you've just now started working with Jamie and Kohl's Kicking this winter, going to a couple of training camps. How has that work, just in the few short months you've had the chance to work with Kohl's Kicking, helped you develop as an NFL prospect?
Yeah, after the season, I knew that the kickoffs would be a question mark for me, kind of the knock on me, I guess, as they call it. And so I wanted to prove everybody wrong, but just like I have, in my career at Clemson, I think. And so I was looking for an edge, so I went to Kohl's, and a lot of the reason I went to Kohl's is I know that the best of the best are at Kohl's camps, and I knew that I could have a chance to compete with the best of the best in my class. And so I competed with some great guys, great kickers. And that was huge for me, I think, just to realize, here I am, and this is where I need to be. And I think kickoffs, I think Jamie's helped me a big time on kickoffs the couple of times I worked with him. I think the kickoffs and the competition between guys in my class, and also I've seen guys that, like free agents in the NFL that have been floating around, or guys that have been established in the NFL. So, I mean, it definitely showed me, definitely gave me a measuring stick, I guess, to see, where I need to be in the next couple months.
Yeah. Now you mentioned proving people wrong on your kickoffs. We're just over a month away from the NFL draft. Camp will be open just before we know it. What is it? Is it kickoffs that is really the main thing you're focusing on, or is there anything else that you're really honing in on in your training as you get ready for the next level?
Yeah, I've definitely placed an emphasis on my kickoffs. I was always repping them in my career. Just never got the chance to kick in games, so kickoff in games. So I definitely placed an emphasis on kickoffs and developing a steady routine, just like I did with field goals. Because I think developing a consistent, steady routine that I stuck to with field goals helped me be so consistent. So I've kind of practice the same thing with kickoffs, routine, everything like that, technique stuff. So I think they have definitely placed a greater emphasis on kickoffs and field goals.
All right, Chandler, great, man. Thank you for your time, and best of luck to you as you take that next step into NFL.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate your time.